Hi, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, 1010XL app, of course, and we're live on Facebook, which we always are on 1010's page, my own as well. Grammage, my producer, will take all that great footage, make reels, make cuts, and paste the whole show on the YouTube channel, the 1010XL YouTube channel. Go see all the great content on our YouTube channel here at 1010XL, brought to you by Team Tommy Mack. You know I love them, man. Just a bunch of businesses that do it right here locally / regionally. Anything you need, for the most part, they will take care of it. They will take care of it, and we'll go through that list a little bit later on. But trust me when I say they're a part of Team Tommy Mack because they do it right, and I am honored to represent each and every one of them here on the show, out on social media, and all throughout Jacksonville. Before we get into the show, we got a lot to get into. We're going to end with the different position group rooms. We'll call them rooms, right? Did they upgrade? Which rooms did they upgrade? And which ones will have the most success in 2024? We'll end with that today on a Tuesday. Look, by the way, before I bring in Grammage and say hi, vacation mode here, baby. Look at this face. It's red as can be. I got fried this weekend. I did wear sunscreen, wear it out there, but nonetheless, I think the beers took over and brought more sun to my face. I don't know. Brother Mike in town, nephews in town, family, friends. Just had a great weekend out there at the beach. Leaving tomorrow to go see our other daughter, Kelsey, as she has her year-end performance up in Western Mass. They say it's about 72, 73 high, 50s in the low. Going to be a nice change, but it's vacation mode for Tommy Mack, and looking forward to hitting the road tomorrow, and then when I come back, man, full speed ahead with everything going on. Grammage, good morning to you, buddy. How you doing? You have a good weekend?
Good morning, sir. I did.
Good.
I got a little toasty myself.
Oh, yeah.
I was out at Fort George with some friends.
Great spot.
So,
on the intercoastal up by Mayport. Yep.
Yeah, so water feels great still.
Oh, the water's phenomenal right now.
Probably another month that the water will still feel good.
Yeah, look, cool you off, you mean.
Once you get to July, the water will start to feel like soup.
Especially up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially up there. The ocean was nice. It was nice. Nice breeze out there. The sun beating down on you, but, the water was clear. Nice. Not great waves. You couldn't really body surf, so that was kind of a bummer, but nonetheless, we had a great time. I hope everybody else did out there. Memorial Day weekend, of course, recognizing and thanking all of the military men and women who have fallen in duty to protect our freedoms, man. You know we love you all here on this show and throughout my life, city of Jacksonville, etc. Also, David Lamb, the iconic David Lamb, passed away on Friday. May he rest in peace. God bless his family, his friends. He was an icon for a long time in the sports talk radio world, the writing world here in Jacksonville. Was great at NASCAR, college ball, just really, really great overall. So God bless him. And again, may he rest in peace. I know a lot of people here at 1010, they learned a lot from David early in his career. And, look, he was one of the original guys. So, again, God bless his family. Brandon McManus, hey, cuz, what the hell are you doing? Like, it's all alleged. It's alleged, but being accused of sexual assault on the plane ride to London. I think it was 2, not back, although one of the women, what do they call them? Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2, I think. She ended up saying on the second floor of the plane on the way back because she did not want to be near him, I guess. His attorney, McManus's attorney, denies everything, say it's a money grab, et cetera, et cetera. But nonetheless, we'll see how that plays out. Look, the team had to know about it if the complaint was made. Looks like there was some dancing, there was some carrying on, whatever. Nonetheless, bad name, gives the Jags it's just bad, And now he's with Washington. What does Washington do with him? If it is all, look, it's all alleged. Got to let it play out, but it's more than one. And I don't know. Word travels. So if that really went on, and the team found out about it, because they will. Players talk. They talk to all types of people inside the organization. if that really went on and they knew about it, well, maybe now we know why Brandon McManus wasn't retained for his services, or partially. He didn't kick very well. But nonetheless, it's all alleged. I'm not saying he's guilty whatsoever. It's all being he's accused of sexual assault, though, which is look. It's just not good on the organization. It's like the guy Amit Patel who stole $22 million from you. It's not good. It's a small stain, but it's still a stain, and it's not good. But we'll see how that one plays out. Just bizarre. Like on the plane ride. Hope he's not married or anything. Jeez. There'll be some bobbing going on, if you know what I mean. Give me the switchblade. Dan Orlovsky, the former NFL QB who's on ESPN, says Trevor right now is not a top 12 quarterback. I disagree with that. I think he is. But I think, look, people, we have to understand, like, tools and what he has and good quarterback play are two different things. And I know we can add injury and protection and drops. I know that, but so can every other quarterback in the league as well. Maybe not injuries, but getting hit, making, dropping the ball, guys not running the run routes. It does happen. But look, I think this is his year. This is a big year for Trevor Lawrence. My brother and I were talking football all weekend long, and his boys are into it too, and baseball and basketball. But, I said, look, it's all going to come down to Trev, man. It's going to come down to him. Now, they got to do everything around him to protect him. But nonetheless, he's got to have a big year, I think, for this team to do to do great things in 2024. I'll talk about Darnell Savage in just a minute. I watched half of the Celtics-Pacers series last night because my brother's from Indianapolis. I was so tired. I did kind of nod off during the game. They lose, Celtics win. I'm not a basketball guy, but I do think that the Celtics and the Mavericks, if it turns out to be, we're almost sweeping Minnesota. They got one more game to go. That should be a great final, man. That should be a great final. Bill Walton dies at the age of 71. God rest his soul, man. That's so young. Man, my dad was 75, and I was 25. At the time, I didn't think it was that young, but now I look back, man, that's a young time. I know people lose their parents earlier, don't get me wrong, and more empathy for that. At least I had 25 years with them. But 71 years of age, I guess he was ill. Didn't tell a lot of people about it, but Bill Walter no longer on this earth. God rest his soul as well. I did like seeing an article on Jaguars today. I'll give them credit, of course. Darnell Savage was the highlight of this article. And the one thing that just really stood out was he talked about Ryan Nielsen, a D coordinator, and his defensive staff as being fiery, which I love because I think that was lacking last year. And the energy, and it's contagious. And we're all bouncing off. It's all bouncing off each other. And we wanted to be saying all the right things. Look, former first-round pick out of Green Bay in 2019, played 5 years with the Packers, really stood out in the playoffs last year. Darnell Savage did, made a lot of plays. Nielsen says he can play safety, he can play nickel, and he can play man. And Darnell Savage says, well, I can play defense. So that's another guy that they've brought in to upgrade that defensive back room, and we'll talk about that. Of course, OTA number 4 today for the Jags, and they working towards that mini camp and then ending it. And then having training camp. Again, I'm not, just hope for the best. I was asking, I think they're a 500 team right now. I have them winning 10 games. I went through it, but even from a macro, I think 10. I think they'll vie for the title, but they'll have it'll come down to the end. I think maybe not the last week, but the last couple weeks or 3 weeks.
The AFC South title.
Yeah, AFC South.
Not the Super Bowl title.
No. Well, you get on a run, you never know.
Yes.
And if your quarterback's on fire, who knows? You know what I mean? And your defense and your pass rush and all that good stuff. We're going to look at, like I said, as I started the show, the Jags have upgraded their roster. There's no doubt about that, whether you're talking free agency and draft. Now, it's all on paper, which, the free agency you can give a little bit more, merit to because they've done it. The rookies, we don't know yet, but it looks promising, right? It's all on paper. But they've upgraded a lot of rooms on that team, in the organization. We're going to go through that, and we'll figure out which room stands out the most in 2024. If you're listening on Facebook, let me know if you want to chime in on that. Well, that one, Team Tommy Mac, of course, is a group of businesses taking care of you. You see J-Dog right here, J-Dog. Junk removal and hauling. Yeah, they'll take care of your junk. By the way, they refurbish 80% of it and then give it to military families. The other side of the business is the hauling business. All you contractors, home builders, check out J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. They got a ton of bins ready for you, ready to be placed, ready to be filled, and you come up and pick it up. It's trusted, integrity. It's all military owned and operated. 844-GET J-Dog. Hopefully you didn't get thrown in the clink or your friends didn't this weekend. Sometimes we get a little excited out there and you do some stupid things. I know the cops are out there doing their job, but make sure you call Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, the number one name in the bail game, 904-822-2245, 822-2245. Put that in your phone and make sure that if it does happen, you got him on your contact list, and he will take care of it, no question about it. Graffiti Burger Bar, home of the 904 Pro Show. We're off this week. Next week, we got Coach Tom Coughlin and Kelly Coughlin from the J Fund. So make sure you get out there, get a seat. You can hear the interview. You'll see the interview. Be part of the conversation right there at the Graffiti Burger Bar. Their menu's phenomenal. Try the McManus burger. It's got avocado, Swiss cheese, and bacon. And you can add whatever else you want to it, but that's the staple for the McManus burger, but a great spot. Code Ninjas, a place for your kids to get coding, get to learn how to code. Coding is cool if you don't know. I tell you what, you're learning about cybersecurity, you're learning about Roblox, you're learning about Minecraft, you're building video games, and these camps, you're going outside and enjoying the hot, blistering heat that will go along with it, but get them well-rounded at Code Ninjas. Carpet Man flooring, more than just LVP. It's carpet, it's tile, it's hardwood, highest quality at the lowest prices right there on Wells Road in Orange Park and on St. John's Bluff Road. Or check them out at carpetmanflooring.com. Azar Sausage served it this weekend. Phenomenal sausage dogs in the thing, and in the buns. That's what I cooked before the boys got there. After I picked them up from the airport, of course they were hungry. They're young kids. We fed them Azar sausage. Absolutely awesome. Michael Nickus' State Farm Agency. He's been my agent for 20 plus years. I'm talking auto, home, life, supplemental health. He does it right. The team's always there for you, 24/7, ready to take care of all your needs. Give him a shot to earn your business with Michael Nickus State Farm. Saltaire Inn and Suites, an awesome place to stay. Boutique hotel, 4 blocks from the beach. And concierge service, man. You get it all. Whatever you need for the beach, they have it there for you at Saltaire Inn and Suites. Family Tradition Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's hot sauces. Big hit this weekend again, man. I'm telling you, go check them out at Family Traditions Specialty Foods.com. And if you plug in pound Team Tommy Mac, it's a BOGO for you. Buy one, get one off. That's right, 100%, baby. Check it out. I want to thank Adaptive Jags, my marketing and advertising company that I partner with, takes care of me as I do them. And, of course, 1010XL, great to be a part of the family here in the podcast studios. All right, let's go through the rooms here, as I call them, as we believe the Jags have upgraded their roster, and we do believe that, especially at least on paper. Let's start with the wide receiver room. Lose Ridley, gain Davis, gain Thomas Jr., gain Duvernay. I think they've upgraded it nicely, to be honest with you. Now, look, does Thomas work out? We'll see. 17 touchdowns in 1 year in the SEC is phenomenal. What does that translate to? We're going to find out. The kid can run. Obviously, he's got some good hands, but this is a different animal now up in the NFL level, right? No doubt about it. But can he break through? Can he beat that? Going against guys that are veterans. We're going to remain to be seen. I think Duvernay's going to be a nice pickup. He's not really wide receiver. He's kind of a wide receiver, more return guy. But I think they've upgraded the wide receiver room overall. Ridley, look, I wanted him back. I wanted him back. I would have taken the 8 touchdowns and 1,000 yards thinking, let's hold this guy accountable more and make sure he knows exactly what he's doing. And maybe we get 12 touchdowns and I don't know, 11, 12, 1,300 yards receiving. But nonetheless, he's gone. I love Gabe Davis. He gets down the field, too, almost 17 yards per catch. We know what Brian Thomas can do, and then Duvernay very, very quick. We know the receiver group runs through Kirk. There's no doubt about it. He's the guy. Same with Ingram. But I think they've upgraded the room with these additions. What do you say, my man? Grammage.
Don't forget lose Zay Jones, Jamal Agnew as well.
We lost Zay Jones. You know, and Zay wasn't healthy, right? I would have taken a healthy Zay Jones for sure. But a non-healthy Zay Jones, I still think we've upgraded the room.
I agree.
Yeah. Agnew and well, we'll see with Duvernay. You know, he's got a shot. I loved Agnew too, but nonetheless, no longer here. The defensive back room, I mean, look, if the rookies especially pan out, they've done a really nice job. Ronald Darby, Savage, of course, who I just talked about. Edmonds, they just grabbed. Trey Flowers, we'll see, can play man. The rookies, Prince and Jones. Jones, I think, could be a starter on that outside. Who we lose? We lost Herndon.
Darius Williams.
I love Darius Williams. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. I'm going to say they still upgraded the room, though. I do. Well, at least the safety / nickel, right? I thought Herndon was fine. He was okay, but I think we needed an upgrade there. And look, we'll see. You know, they're raving about Tyson Campbell, but we'll see if, he holds up all year. You got some options if he doesn't. But I think that room's been upgraded. Again, I would love Darius Williams to be on this team, but he is not. And, I think Darby stays healthy, perfect for Nielsen's defense. I like hearing what I hear about Jones and Prince both being able to press, play. It's all about man. It's all about man. So I like what they've done in the DB room. What do you say?
I don't think I disagree that they've upgraded because there's no one player as good as Darius Williams they replaced with.
Yeah, we'll see about Darby if he stays healthy.
But I don't think Darby's as good as Darius.
He can play his man as well as, he's good man player.
I think Darius Williams is a better football player than the guys they brought in.
He fell off mid-year. He was having a great first half of the year.
It's not to say the guys they brought in are bad. It's just, I don't know. I need to see somebody opposite Tyson Campbell establish themselves as a firm outside CB because.
Would you say Darius is better than Campbell?
No.
He had a better year.
No, but they both got to be on the field at the same time. So,
no, I'm just saying, maybe what if it's not Campbell? What if one of these young guys takes his spot?
Takes Campbell's spot?
Yeah.
Then I got to replace two guys. Because
we've already replaced him with Darby. I mean, Darby's your starter on the right corner, unless one of these young guys just totally just stand out right away.
And I just don't know that I'm sold as Darby as a forget about it outside guy, not worried about it type corner.
Who is that? Tyson ain't that either. There's no
right.
Forget about. You know what I mean? It's hard to have a shutdown. Darius Williams wasn't that either. I mean, that wasn't like, hey, take the best guy all over the field and you cover him down. He had a great year. Don't get me wrong. I thought he had a Pro Bowl year up to a certain point. So I don't know. Maybe it's a wash, and we'll wait and see. Unproven rookies, but if they turn out to be an Aaron Beasley, you know what I mean? I'll take that.
I mean,
all day long.
I'd love for them all to turn out to be Aaron
all right,
Beasley.
The big room they upgraded. What do you think? QB, Mac Jones. He's the greatest backup in the history of the world, right? I mean, yeah, you totally upgraded the quarterback room because Mac Jones is the backup of all time. So, what do you think? Upgrade? He's better than Beathard, right? That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I guess, yeah.
That was kind of
He was pretty
joke.
bad at the end of his last year.
I know. But everyone said he's a perfect backup for Trevor. Perfect. That's why they went and traded for him.
I don't know if I agree he's the perfect back. I think he probably isn't.
That's all I hear. That's all I've heard since he's been brought here.
He probably is an upgrade in terms of just like on the field if he's got to play wise.
If he's not better than Beathard, why did we even bring him in here? And we gave up a draft pick for him. You know what I mean? He better be better than CJ. Or what a wasted move.
Well, Beathard's still on the team right now.
I know.
I
had no problem with Beathard as my backup
I didn't either.
at all. All right. We'll let that one go by. Defensive line. Come on. Armstead. That's all you got to say. Young guys show up, Smith and Jefferson. That'd be nice. Devon, well, although he's not a new guy, but Armstead alone gives you an upgraded defensive line. O-line, Mitch Morse, I'd say the same thing. Upgraded this middle of that offensive line. I'm not totally sold on the offensive line, as we all know. Javon Foster, if he turns out to be anything, maybe he's part of an upgrade. If he's as good as Anton Harrison, which I don't know if he is, remains to be seen.
I got a good feeling about Foster for some reason.
Listen, he was first-team SEC tackle, I think, 2 years in a row, or at least 1 year. That's saying so. You're going against some pretty darn good athletes, pretty darn good players on that outside, and
what if say I don't think it would happen this year, but say maybe throughout this season, either tackles go down at some point. They put Foster in, he plays well, he proves that he can be on the field and he belongs. Next season, do you move Anton left and put him as your right?
It depends if he can play left. What if he can really play left?
And just
they're
leave
both
Anton
valued the same now, right? Pretty much. I mean, even money-wise, they're pretty close, So it can be somewhat interchangeable, if you will. If that's the case, then I'm moving Cam now, and then Little, I'll just let his contract run out. You know what I mean? But how are you gonna know that until? You're not going to know it till before the regular season, right? I mean, how are you going to know? You don't go that hard. You don't go hard enough in practice to really say he's better than Cam. I don't think
I don't think so either.
It's hard to showcase that.
Especially linemen, you're not in pads enough.
Right. You're not, it's not that physical. Now, games, okay. If he plays well and then you give him a shot with the starters and he stands out, then maybe. But you only got 3 games, and how much do the starters even play? Both sides, both teams, So I think it would be tough to do it before the year. And then once the year starts, that money's guaranteed. So now you got to move them with the money, right? I don't think it's guaranteed, is it? Part of it's probably guaranteed, I would imagine. This year's salary for Cam. I'd like to know that, I'd like to know that. Was he 16, 18 mil this year, something like that?
He's $16 million. And I don't know how that works about when the season kicks off, it's guguaranteed or what.
Well, no, it does. Once the regular season starts, that's your
okay.
It's your salary.
All right, okay, I didn't know that. I don't know how that works. I know if they cut him, they save. I think it's $11 million.
Well, let me check that. They could cut him. I don't think, but no, I bet you there's a clause where that becomes fully guaranteed at some point. That's how they normally do. That's how they. It was only a 3-year deal, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Be interesting to know that. So when can you move Cam? Can you move him the same as now as, post June 1 and post June 1 to regular season? You know what I mean? We'll have to look into that. Maybe that'll be my homework assignment if I can remember it next time around. But at least Mitch Morse gives you some stability in center. We'll see if they've done enough around them. So he upgraded center. Did he upgrade the entire room? Don't give me he's going to make the guards play better. I don't believe in that whatsoever. I think that's foolishness. So, did they upgrade it enough? Javon Foster may be that key ingredient that we don't know about yet, right? It'd be interesting to see. Linebacker room, they had Gibson. So, I don't know. I'm going to say they didn't do really much in the linebacker room. And I'm nothing against Gibson at all because Travis, I think his name is, he can rush. But I don't know. Maybe he's not even a linebacker. Maybe he's more of a D end, off the bench, pass rushing type player. And other than that, they really didn't do much in the LB room. Maybe Ventrell Miller makes an appearance this year. Who knows? Be interesting where they play. Devin. Running back room, that's a big question. I mean, look, it's Keelan Robinson, right? If he turns out to be some stud player, then okay, they upgraded the room, right?
He's a third down back.
Yeah, but still, if he's a good, you know what I mean? If he's contributing third down back, and really can make some plays for you and maybe can help you score.
I didn't really understand his pick because his main thing at Texas was returning. There's far, and this is we've talked about this on this podcast before, there's far too many draft picks with this regime that just don't make sense. Like, I don't see a blueprint to where Keelan Robinson plays any significant chunk of time. I guess special teams besides returning.
Well,
but, like, I mean, unless Tank Bigsby is horrendous again.
Yeah.
Keelan Robinson is not going to play very much at all.
Well, I think that's it's a 6th-round pick. You need 2 returners on kickoff, right? He's blazing fast.
I guess you do need the 2. I forgot about that. So I'll retract my statement.
But even from a running back standpoint, so your insurance policy is what? Well, what if he does turn out to be okay? Like, just good enough, good to contribute. And Tank doesn't turn out to be what they think he's going to be. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like an insurance pick. Like, all right, we like Tank. We want to see more. We got Dearness Johnson, but who else do we have? Let's grab a young kid later in the draft, and this kid can fly. Maybe he can help us in certain ways, and maybe he ends up being number 2. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tank. If I'm Tank Bigsby, I've seen the videos. The videos. Here we go. Look at me. Look how fast my feet are. Isn't that amazing? Wow, so incredible.
That's the clip today.
Well, I mean, these videos, I don't know, like, what? You're working out. Great. You're supposed to work out. You know what I mean? Is it for your Instagram?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Whatever. But that's what they show the quick feet. There's anybody. I'm like, nobody's like in front of him. Nobody, I don't know. Trust me, you got to do these drills. I'm not saying that, but to put them on film seems a little odd.
The point is, if you post all these clips and have a lot of stuff, and you have a lot of followers, and then Body Armor wants to,
I do. I know how that goes. So I guess you got to work on your brand too. All that money's not enough. You need more of your brand.
Well, the way Tank's playing, I need to work on the brand.
Well, if he ain't playing well, there is no brand.
That's right. Well,
right? Forget about the brand.
No second contract either.
Playing the game. Yeah. I hope it works out for Tank. I do, man. But
my whole thing with Keelan, there's nothing wrong with Keelan Robinson. I hope he's a great player. I just, in that portion of the draft, based on what they had done and hadn't done in free agency and everything up to that point, and I understand you're taking flyers on guys anyways. I just would have rather that flyer been on a guard, and maybe it turns out to be something.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah,
you get what I'm saying. And
I know why they drafted a kicker now, right?
Yeah. Well, right. Well, that's it. Cam Little is his name.
Yeah,
right?
Cam Little.
I see the path where Cam Little gets on the field.
Right.
I just
right.
And again, I know that 6th and 7th round picks are flyers anyway. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not relying on them to be your biggest playmakers on the team.
Yeah.
I never, and I understand you don't totally draft based on need. I get so frustrated when players get drafted where I don't see a blueprint to where they play.
Yeah.
And Ventrell Miller was the same thing last year. I know he was hurt, but if Ventrell Miller was fully healthy, he wouldn't have played last year. Chad Muma, he's barely played. His whole time here was a 3rd round pick. Brenton Strange.
Right.
Like, these guys don't play they don't make an impact.
For sure. Ventrell will see. If he can cover, it comes down to covering, right? And then can you move him,
And by the way,
Devin up or something.
The two are mutually exclusive. If Ventrell does get healthy and is good and does play, that means Chad Moon was a bad pick.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right?
You didn't need Chad. He couldn't have been the highest player on your board at that time. I wouldn't think.
I don't and I was furious when they picked him. It's not because Chad Moon was not a good player. It's because they just traded up in the same draft for Devin Lloyd. They signed Foye Oluokun in free agency. Yep. Where is the world where Chad Muma plays? And he's a 3rd round pick. He needs to play.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
I agree. I agree with that. And it can't just be special teams for the 3rd round. You got to be more than just a special team.
And at the time,
you're taking it that pick anyway.
At the time, you needed pass rush help. At the time, you needed defensive tackles. At the time, you needed guards. Like there's. I understand it's not all based on need, but there's got to be some give and take here, man. There's just certain picks where I'm just scratching my head. Like, what?
Well, if Miller turns out to be a cover guy that can really run and make plays. We'll see if he can get on the field. I think, look, 6th-round pick. I mean, what if Cooper Hodges doesn't get hurt and he showed that he's at least a really solid backup, right? Like
Great pick.
Right. So would you still take a guard in the 6th round,
Yeah.
over a running back that when you're not sold on Tank Bigsby?
Yes, because
You're not sold on Tank Bigsby, though. So what are
I'm
you
not
gonna do?
but I have Dearness Johnson, who I'm fine with being my RB2. And then also
Yeah,
at
but
guard,
we talked about that last week, and you weren't that high on Dearness
I'm not
Johnson.
super high on him either,
So
but
I could see why they made the pick. I could see if they didn't have. I think they like Cooper Hodges. I think they're looking forward to seeing him come out and compete and at least be a backup. I could see them like, okay, here we are, 6th round. We like Tank, but we don't know. We don't know. What about this kid? We scouted him. He can really run. He's a big playmaking kind of guy. He can help us in the return game. Let's take a flyer on him. Let's take a shot at him. Maybe he's an insurance pick to Tank. That's all I'm saying. But you great points. I mean, look, if they went guard, I'd been like, great, keep upgrading that O-line. But I think they like Cooper more than we know, and they may be wrong because he hasn't done anything.
they like the starting offensive line better than the rest of us do, I think, too.
They do well, clearly.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
how sold are you on Ezra Cleveland and an aging Brandon Sheriff?
I'm not at all.
Like that's my thing. Is that to me?
I'm not sold on left tackle yet either.
And I totally agree with you that you can't just say, okay, Luke Fortner was bad, so that excuses poor guard play.
No.
Those guys didn't play well enough,
No.
regardless of who was snapping the ball.
The only thing I'll say about Ezra is if we're going to give everyone else, that injury, trap door, well, you got to give it to him because he did come in injured and got injured.
Oh, I completely agree.
So
I
want to
wish-
see what he could. I tell you this, he's the kind of player they want. Very athletic. That guy, when he was healthy, and he pulled a few times. You're like, holy cow, it's a big dude that can really move. And again, that offensive line's not built to bruise, built to get in the way, just to create a little crease. It's not to move. That's why we suck on short yardage. We're not road graders. We don't move people out of the way. We get in their way and hope the back hits it at the right time. And the pass sets it all up to begin with. You know what I mean? So, but no, I don't think a center makes the guards better. Now, what can he make them better at is just knowing the protections. But Sheriff knows the protections. Been in the game. Cleveland's been a starter for 3 years up in Minnesota, or 2 years, or whatever it was. They know protections, so that doesn't mean anything to me. But you upgraded center. Did you upgrade the O-line? That's the big question, right?
I think you upgraded the O-line strictly because you did upgrade center.
Okay.
I just think, again, I agree with you that center being upgraded doesn't mean the guards got upgraded.
Right.
Like, indirectly. I don't agree with when people say that. I agree with you there. I just think if that starting line was what were they last year with Luke Fortner starting? A 4 out of 10?
Yep.
They're probably a 6 out of 10 now.
I'll just say this, too, and I'm not defending Fortner at all, but we had no issue with the line until Trevor got hurt against Cincinnati and Kirk got hurt. That really hurt the offense overall. Because, again, then when the passing game didn't work, you try this running game, and you're not moving anybody out of the way. And they've stacked the box, and they're not worried about you. You get stuffed. There's no running game. The running game sucked last year. I think a big part of it was the passing game wasn't consistent at all. And then when you lost your two top players, you didn't lose Trevor, but those next 3 games were terrible. I mean, they were. They're 58%, 56%. He was way off. And not having Kirk hurt. So, look, if Kirk doesn't get hurt, if Trevor don't suffer that ankle injury, are we that worried about the O-line? Maybe not. I don't know. We don't know. Regardless, they upgraded Luke Fortner. We can all agree on that. So, at least Mitch Morse is here, and we'll see what he can do in the end. All right, out of all the rooms, who's going to turn out to be the most productive? Out of all the position group rooms, out of all the players we just went through, and I'm probably missing one or two, who's going to have the biggest impact in 2024? I'll tell you what it's got to be. D-line. It's got to have a massive impact, right? I think they will with Armstead, and I think they will with Josh and Trayvon keep going. And if that number 4, that other tackle spot ends up being a player, whether it's Mason Smith or Jordan Jefferson or whoever it may be, Devon Hamilton maybe, whoever it is, maybe it's a combo, that D-line has got to be upgraded on the field, not just on paper.
Can I give you an offensive and defensive pick?
Yeah, what the hell? It's a podcast. You can do that how you want.
Defense, I'll get defensive line as well.
Yep.
I think it's the most important for them to have a big impact, and I think they will as well. Offense, I'll say receiver.
Yeah. Well, I think receiver and QB go together.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? And
QB's kind of in its own little bucket, anyways.
No,
I feel like it's sort of
they are. I'm just they go to obviously they go together because one's thrown to the other.
Well, and QB's not really a unit on the field; it's just one guy.
Oh, you back up. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but
I know what you're saying. The receivers definitely got to have big years this year. No, not as many drops. There's going to be a few, but limit the drops. Hold them accountable on what they're doing, and protect the QB. You got a chance, and then it's up to Trevor. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's really like pretty much every other organization, right? I mean, look at San Fran. When Purdy wasn't playing well, they weren't a good team. Now, they had their injuries too, and they brought him back, and then Purdy plays well, and guess what? They're a formidable team. Ridiculous. Offense, defense, all around. It's not just Jacksonville. The QB's got to perform at a high level. It's every QB in every NFL city's got to perform at a high level, or they normally don't win. You can be efficient, and that's still high level. I'm talking like high level is what? Being efficient, not turning the ball over, not fumbling, not making bad decisions, running that offense, not turning the ball over, making the right throws at the right times in the right spots.
Anticipation.
All of it.
You just said it, because making the right throw at the right time, that's anticipation. But that's such an underrated aspect of it, because even these great offenses with great players, the NFL, there are not plays, there very rarely are plays in the NFL where a guy just breaks wide open and you have 2 to 3 seconds to see it happen.
Right.
You've got to see a guy, even the best receivers in the NFL, you have to see them getting open before they do.
Or you throw them open.
Right.
Which is kind of the same thing.
Right. Yep. So it's just like, how often do we see guys from college come to the league and they struggle with trying to wait for guys to get extra open before they throw it, and they're always too late when they do that.
Yep.
Versus like Brock Purdy with their whole thing, and their whole part of the reason he makes it work so well is because how often do you see Brandon Ayuk make some kind of in-breaking route and he's not open when the ball is released,
right?
But it goes to a spot, like you're saying, he's throwing him open, and then wide open, we're off to the races.
Right.
Like, that happens all the time.
Right.
And
that's throwing it in the right spot at the right time.
Right.
There's a spot to throw these throws. They're not just on the player. And you're right about that, because in college, they're normally open with big windows, and you can just sit there and fire them in those windows. Those windows shrink in the NFL, and they shrink quick. Not only are they already smaller, they close even quicker than they do in the college game. That's why it's a bit, and then think about like going from number 1 to number 2, even to number 3. Like those windows, it's got to be money. You got to be money. You got to be clutch. You got to make clutch throws. You can't make bad mistakes. You got to make great throws in big moments, and that's what championship quarterbacks do. They put their team on their back. You still need all your guys, but you're the one. And I think Trevor could do it. I do. I want to see it, and we've seen the glimpses. And like I said, I think the last podcast or 2 ago, whatever it was, 2022 had a nice run of games. 2023 had a nice little run of games. And then the ankle injury, and then it wasn't so great, finished okay with Tennessee. But we got to see it all the way through, start to finish, right? Start to finish, that he can carry this team and lead this team to a championship. And it's year 4, so it's time. He needs that D-line to help him out a lot. To what? To get the ball back. But they did that last year, if you remember. They were very good on third down most of the year. So he got the ball back. So, I don't know. I'm going to say the most important room is probably QB. Out of the whole thing. Now, you could say, well, Tom, what if he does play great, but the D-line doesn't play well? We're probably not going to make it. Maybe. You got to outscore. I mean, how many times have we sat here in the past couple of years, Grammage, thinking like, remember 2 years ago when Doug didn't address the nose tackle position? We're like, are you not concerned about stopping the run at all? Like, no, we're good, and it ended up not being good. And the overall thinking is we're just going to outscore. We're going to outscore. Our offense is going to outscore them.
To this day, that was ridiculous.
I agree. I don't know why that was never addressed.
You're in a division at the time. You're in a division with Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry.
Right.
And you don't think you need a nose?
Right.
What? In a 3-4?
I know.
That was insane.
I know.
We were on that.
Right.
At the time, we were on that, and I agree with you. There's, I don't know. I don't know how many teams can go into the season saying that we're going to outscore people, and those end up being the teams that you see playing the last couple weeks of the season.
Right.
How often? Like,
no, right.
The Chiefs have the best quarterback in the game. They have arguably the best tight end of all time, at worst, like second best.
Yep.
They don't go into the season like that.
D lineman, by the way. Don't forget Chris Jones.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yep. They don't go into the season saying, "Oh, we're just going to outscore people."
No, not at all. Not at all.
They want to run the ball. They want to stop the run. They want good DBs. They want to play physical football.
Yep.
Because they know that in January and February, that's the brand of football that gets played.
That's right.
And like who's a team that goes in the league and says we're probably just going to outscore? The Dolphins, would do that, right?
Yeah.
They're an outscore type of team.
Yeah.
That obliterated first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Against the Chiefs. Granted, that was like a historically cold game.
No,
I get it.
Yeah. I think
Those
Baltimore's
teams,
got a little bit of. I think every team's saying we got to outscore the other team, but it's not just going to be by offense. You better have that defense stout and ready to go. Again, they've upgraded on defense. They've upgraded the roster. There's no doubt about it. Now, can they put it together? Can they hone it in? I really like what I'm hearing about Ryan Nielsen and how he runs things. I think that's very important. I do think this team lacked a lot of accountability last year, especially on defense, but all across the board. And I think that's changing. I never thought the talent wasn't good enough. I thought even last year that it was more psyche than anything. More mental than anything. To not know what you're doing out there is absolutely insane. And to think that it's the coach's fault is even more insane. A professional athlete not knowing his plays, not knowing his coverage, not knowing communication. I mean, that's like, that's your prerequisite kind of stuff in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a specialty class. That's like, you're just supposed to know that shit.
And by the end of the year, there was physicality and effort issues, too.
Yeah, they weren't
tackling.
They weren't tackling well. I mean, against Tennessee, they were almost like afraid.
I know you've heard this because you played all the way up to the league. Even when I played, I've always heard, even if you don't know what you're doing, do something.
Yeah.
Hit somebody.
Yeah.
Make some kind of on defense, especially. And
when guys are wide open, there's miscommunication. So
yes.
that should, unless someone fell down, tripped or slipped or whatever. Other than that, nobody should ever be wide open. There was too much of that. We know what was going on with Ridley, which it's amazing to me they never held him accountable. That really does bother me, like deep down. Like, why wouldn't you? What, were you afraid of him? Huh? Was he too big of a star that you just would, just don't worry about it? I just don't get that. Nobody is above the team. Nobody's above the team, and they all deserve to be critiqued just the same, and to sit there and knowingly know that he's running the wrong routes. Even dropping the rock. I mean, hey, have a seat and think about it, right? I mean, not just him, others. But the route running especially. Like, how in the hell do you not know what you're doing?
Well, I think I think, to me, I don't know that they necessarily put him above the team. I think it's that they're just
They had nobody else.
Well, since they've been here, they've not been the type of coaching staff to do that type of thing with players. Like, I think if that was Parker Washington, they wouldn't have done it. You know, I just.
I mean, they benched Devin Lloyd 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
You're right.
who did
That's
that?
True. That's true.
So why didn't they do it to others?
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
I didn't either till just now. But I'm like, yeah, who was the guy they benched? I'm like, yeah, they benched Devin Lloyd for a few games. Didn't they?
For not really knowing what he was doing.
For not knowing, being out of position, not knowing the coverage, you know.
And you're right, Devin Lloyd was a rookie, a little bit easier to kind of come down on versus this high-priced free agent you brought in. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about Devin Lloyd.
So, but why didn't they with Calvin? Maybe you didn't have anybody else. You know, maybe you didn't feel comfortable with nobody else, and I just got to have him out there. We'll take what we can get out of him, kind of thing. I don't know. Look, I've never been a coach, you know, but that's how I would coach. You know, I'd be like, come on, dude. It's like, you're a big money player. We're giving you a chance of a lifetime to resurrect your career. You could have a big year with us. You know, like, you got to know what you're doing. You got to stay extra. Let's go over it. I'll sit there with you. We'll go over it. Make sure, you know, it drops. Well, are you working on the jug machines? Are you working on your hands? Are you working on all that? You know, that's what being a pro is. But you could tell there were things amiss. So this year I think it's going to be different. Let's hope so. But look, as long as one side's accountable, I'll take it, right? I'll take the defensive side, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. All right, that's going to do it for Catching Up with Tommy Mac this time around. I will not be on the Horse's Mouth this week. There's no 904 Pro show this week. Next week, we have Coach Coughlin and Kelly Coughlin. Looking forward to that. I will not be on Jaguars today on Friday. There'll be no Catching Up with Tommy Mac on Friday. I may check in from Northampton. We're going to Northampton, Mass. to see our Kelsey girl dance her final performance for the CLI Conservatory Group. Looking forward to that. And the whole family's going, so it should be a really, really good time. But I'll be back next week, next Tuesday, ready to rock and roll hoochie coo for you as we get closer and closer to the NFL season. There'll be a lot of news and notes, I'm sure, between now and then. So until next time, stay safe out there and be cool. And we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.